If you want to become unguardable, working on becoming a 3-level scorer is going to be the most important key to being able to be unguardable. What does it mean to be a 3-level scorer? That means you can score at the rim, you can score in the mid-range, and you can score around the 3-point line or even from deep. You notice guys who are great scorers in the game such as Shai, Trey, Curry, Kyrie, KD, all of these guys have 3 things. They can finish at the rim, they can finish in the mid-range, and they can finish at the 3-point line. Also, they're very efficient at these 3 levels of basketball. It's not like they're just really good at finishing around the rim and can't really shoot around the 3-point line, but they can make some shots. No, they're really efficient at all 3 levels of scoring. So like I said, if you want to be unguardable, mastering the 3 levels of scoring and becoming a 3-level scorer is going to be the most important thing to your success to being unguardable. So in this video today, I'm going to go through the 3 levels of scoring and explain how you can get better at each of them. Let's get into it. So the first level we're going to talk about is scoring at the rim. I want to start by saying scoring at the rim helps unlock the 2 other levels of scoring, which is shooting at the 3-point line and shooting in the mid-range area. This is because if a defender knows that you can get by them and go to the rim and finish under the rim with ease, they're going to have to bag up because they don't want you to just blow by them and they don't want you to be able to have an easier finish at the rim. So they're going to start to bag up and play you less aggressively. And now that 3-point starts to open and that mid-range starts to open. Let's say, for instance, you get a screen set and all game you've been going to the basket on that screen, maybe shooting a floater or maybe just getting a layup, an easy layup and finishing tough layups through contact. Now they're going to start trying to go under those screens instead of going over them because they don't want you to drive to the basket. So now once the defender goes under that screen, that starts to open up that mid-range jumper, that 3-point line jumper, everything. So like I said, being able to finish at the rim is going to help you unlock those other 2 levels. So the first thing with finishing under the rim is we got to be able to finish through contact. There's going to be a lot of guys at the rim trying to block our shot. There's going to be centers if you're a smaller guard, or maybe you're a big and you have to be able to finish at the rim as well. There's going to be guys trying to block your shot. You have to be able to finish through that contact, and basketball is tough. It's definitely a contact sport, so you have to be able to finish through that contact. So finding drills that you can do that is going to help you finish through that contact is going to help you with level 1 of scoring under the rim. You have to be able to finish through contact. The next thing is being able to finish with touch and having control with your finishes. I like to teach players to finish off of 2 feet because that helps them with control under the basket. You notice that players, when they do those up and unders, they're finishing off of 2 feet a lot. Those 2-foot finishes are going to help you stay under control. Also, finishing with touch, you see it with these floaters. When Trae Young goes to the basket, he hits floaters all the time. Floaters, floaters, floaters. Those floaters and being able to finish with touch and even being able to finish off the glass, you have to have that soft touch. Finishing off the glass is not easy, but you want to be able to finish with that soft touch so now your ball isn't just going straight off the basket or straight off the glass. You know, once you're finishing on that glass rim or the glass baskets, it gets harder, so you have to be able to finish with soft touch. Finishing off the glass with that soft touch and those angles goes hand in hand. We got to be able to finish with different angles. If we drive straight to the basket, we got to know what angles we can finish from or how to make sure we maneuver the ball around the rim or whatever we have to do off the glass in order to be able to finish. So knowing those angles and knowing how we can finish around the rim with certain angles. We see Kyrie all the time with those reverse layups, those up and unders, things like that. He's just mastered the angles. He knows what angles he has to get to and what he has to do with certain angles and how he has to finish off the backboard because of those angles. So understand those angles. Lastly, being able to finish with either hand. You got to be able to finish with either hand when finishing around the rim. You can't make yourself one-dimensional. If you can only finish with the right hand, defenders, they going to cut that off. They're not going to let you drive to the right side. Then they're going to make you drive and then force you to finish with the left hand. So you got to be able to finish with both hands. Finish up and under, reverse hand, left hand, right hand, whatever. You got to be able to use both hands equally so that you don't limit yourself. We talk about being a 3-level scorer. Being a 3-level scorer is being able to finish at the rim, the mid-range, and the 3-point line. If we limit ourselves from being able to finish with the left hand, then now that takes away the whole finishing aspect, really, because we only one-dimensional. The whole defense, they're just going to take away that right side, so we can't go to the right. They're going to force us left, and now we only either have the mid-range or the 3-point game because now we can't finish on the left side, so we got to be able to use both hands with finishing. So the second level is the mid-range scoring. The mid-range game is a big part of today's game, and I feel like it's overlooked a lot. We see players like Shai constantly use that mid-range game and constantly getting points and buckets off that mid-range game. Players need to use the mid-range game a lot more often. Oftentimes that mid-range shots, believe it or not, are wide open because defenders aren't expecting you to shoot it. They aren't expecting you to drive towards the rim and then pull up for a quick little mid-range. We've seen Kobe do this all the time. These shots are often open because players aren't expecting you to shoot those mid-range shots. The mid-range shots are an easier jump shot, and they're often easier to get to than, let's say, a three-pointer or even finishing at the rim, because defenders are expecting you to do that. So the keys for this is, one, making sure you work on that pull-up jumper. You may come off a screen or you may beat a defender, and you want to make sure you work on that pull-up jumper. So if you're going to the right, you also want to make sure you work on that footwork for that pull-up jumper. If you're going to the right, you want to do a left, right, and then go up. Or if you're going to the left, you want to do right, left. So make sure you use those mid-range pull-ups a lot. Also knowing what dribble moves you can use to get there. So let's say you jab, step to the left, and then you start beating your defender to the right, but then he cuts you off. Now, knowing that I can get into my step back and get into a mid-range right there, or knowing that I can just start driving and get into that pull-up again, or maybe you jab and you're already in the mid-range area, knowing the footwork that you can use in that mid-range area. So we seen Carmelo, his jabs were crazy. His mid-range game was amazing. So knowing how you can manipulate the defense in that mid-range area already. Or maybe you're a big man, maybe you catch the ball in the post area, being able to score in that post area and then working your way in the mid-range area. So as a big, you may have to do post fades, or as a big, you may have to just be able to use different moves to be able to get to the rim from the mid-range, or being able to just pull up from the mid-range. We see Joel Embiid do things like this all the time. As a big, being able to extend the defense out into the mid-range, or being able to extend that 5 out into the mid-range, is going to open up the floor for your team as well. So make sure you're working on those jabs, those shot fakes, those step backs. Those step backs are going to help you a lot, because oftentimes when you're driving and you do a step back or a side step, that's going to get the defender off balance. You see those ankle breakers happen. It may not even be an ankle breaker, but that's going to get you enough space just to be able to get that mid-range shot off and be on balance. Also, another thing, balance. Make sure you're on balance when you're shooting these pull-up jumpers or these mid-range shots. You will have to be on balance. And like I said, that footwork is really the key. You have to be able to know what footwork to use to be able to get into these shots. So if you're doing a step back, you need to know what footwork you need to do to get into that step back. Or if you're doing a mid-range dribble pull-up, you need to know, if I'm going to the left, then the footwork should be right foot, left foot. Or the footwork, if I'm going to the right, should be left foot, right foot, then pull-up. So knowing this footwork, knowing how to use the footwork to get into these shots. Make sure you work on the mid-range game. The mid-range game is a huge part of the game that can get you a lot more points and that can open up your game as a player overall. Also, to be a 3-level scorer, you got to be able to master the mid-range. So work on that mid-range. It's going to open up a whole new door for you in basketball. And the final level, 3-point shooting. We all know what 3-point shooting is. We all want to be great 3-point shooters. We all watch players like Curry and Dame. You know, players who are really good at shooting. We often watch them. However, you know, something that opens up that ability to shoot is being able to use the mid-range and being able to use the drive. I said in the beginning of the video, being able to drive to the basket opens up that 3-point. That is the same thing for the 3-point. Being able to shoot that 3-point at a high clip is going to open up your driving lanes, and it's also going to open up that mid-range. We got to be able to make sure we shoot the 3-point at a high efficiency if we want to be able to be a great 3-level scorer. The first thing I like to tell players to do is work on that catch and shoot. You don't often have to be able to create your own shot, and doing a shot off the dribble is way harder than just catching and shooting the ball. So work on that catch and shoot game. Work on that catch and shoot from the corner, the wing. Make sure you're working on the catch and shoot from spots that you often would catch and shoot from. Like, let's say for instance, your teammate drives to the rim. If your teammate drives to the rim, you can catch and shoot the ball from anywhere. However, most of the time you're going to be catching and shooting from that corner, or they may have to drive and then they may pass it to the corner and then you get one more pass to the wing, or vice versa. So practice spots where you'll be catching and shooting from. Oftentimes you're not going to catch and shoot a mid-range shot. It's fine to practice that if you're warming up and things like that, but you're not going to get that too much in the game. So practice shots that you're going to be able to catch and shoot from. Next, shooting off the dribble. Like I said, shooting off the dribble is a little harder, but you want to make sure you practice that footwork. Like I stated in the mid-range game, that footwork is going to help you a whole lot. So if you're going to the right, if the same thing off a screen that you would do in a mid-range game, if you're going to the right, then use that footwork, that left to right, and then pull up. Or knowing when the defender is going under the screen or over the screen. If that defender goes under the screen, that's going to help you get a shot off. Or maybe even just being able to break the defender down one-on-one and knowing what moves you can use, what moves like a step back or whatever you can do to create space to be able to get that shot off. Remember, like I said, being able to drive to the rim is going to also help you open up that three-point shot. So if we're trying to get a shot off the dribble, we want to make that defender think that we're going to drive to the basket. That's going to help us create that space to be able to get that shot up. Another thing, you also want to make sure you're able to have a quick release. Players are going to be closing out very fast if you're doing a catch and shoot situation, or even if you're off the dribble, you're going to have a defender in front of you. He's going to be closing out way faster. So you want to be able to make sure you have a quick release because you don't want these taller defenders to be able to block your shot. So work on those quick releases, but also with that quick release, stay in the confines of your jumper. Stay with your mechanics. Do not let go of your mechanics just because you're trying to have a quick release. Keep that quick release, but also work on your mechanics, or maybe just tweak the mechanics a little bit just so you can have a quick release. However, don't shy away from your mechanics in order to have a quicker release. Lastly, you want to make sure you can extend your range. If you can extend your range, you see as soon as players like Curry cross half court, when Dame crosses half court, there's a player on them. If you can extend your range, now you are able to drive right past them. It's very hard to guard somebody one-on-one from half court. Oftentimes you have to double team them or a help defender has to come over. So imagine Curry getting guarded from half court. Now he has a way easier time beating a defender or going around a defender because you have so much space to do it. So if you're able to extend that range, again, it works together. Being able to drive and being able to shoot opens things up for each other. So if you can extend that range to well beyond the three-point line, that opens up that drive. And now once you start driving, that defender is going to be trying to recover. Now that opens up that mid-range because they're not expecting you to just stop and pull up from a mid-range. They're going to either lead to a foul or they're going to be way off balance trying to catch up to you. So be able to extend that range. Being able to extend that range is going to open up the game for you, and it's going to help open up the floor for your teammates, because now if your teammates are cutting to the basket and you're way outside the three-point line, now you have an easier lane to pass them the ball because defenders aren't so bunched in together. So extending that range is going to help you open up your game and help you with your three-level scoring. So there you have it. You have the 3 levels of scoring, and you have the things that you need to be able to improve those levels of scoring. Again, we want to make sure you're able to finish around the rim. We want to make sure you're able to shoot that mid-range, and we want to be able to extend the range and shoot from 3-point, shoot deeper outside the 3-point line. If we're able to do all of these things, we will become a great 3-level scorer. And being able to be a 3-level scorer is going to help you become unguardable. You see all the great players in the world, they're able to do it from the rim, they're able to do it in the mid-range, and they're able to do it at the 3-point line. Curry, LeBron, Kyrie, Dame, all of these players are able to do it at all 3 levels. So being able to score at all 3 levels is going to open up your game so much. I want to put a huge emphasis on that mid-range game though. A lot of players overlook the mid-range game. Work on that mid-range. If you constantly work on the mid-range, that is going to open up a huge door for your players and a huge door for your play style as a whole. So if you enjoyed the video today, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Go watch one of my previous videos. I have videos on how to shoot. I have videos on how to score 20 points in the game. Go watch some of my previous videos. Go watch some of my previous shorts. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Please comment, and thank y'all.